Welcome everyone to the Road to One, where we get to hear different investors' stories about how they got their first deal. Today we have Kia Damon-Olson. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So what do you do? What are your avatars? What are your strengths?
Avatar. So I'm a gator. So within Gator, obviously there's a number of things that you can do, but really that the gators are people who are bringing capital in different capacities, mostly to deals, but there's a lot of other things you can do in terms of, sponsoring and different things where your credit worthiness, your ability to bring capital is kind of leveraged and through networking you can also, or I have also served as a connector where as I meet people and I hear one person has this need and I learn this person has a solution, I can bring them together and help them execute deals if they need. By nature, I'm a leader. So if I can provide some mentorship to people, that's also some of the things that I've started to do within my short time in Gator. Well,
Yep.
within the creative family, we'll call it.
Cool. Thank you for that. So what is your background?
So a couple things. So my background is I wasn't someone that kind of said, hey, I'm going to be in real estate, but I've always had an interest in business.
Mhm.
My interest in real estate has kind of grown as, you start to adult and you acquire your first property and then you start watching HGTV and all those types of shows.
Mhm.
And then you start to wonder, I wonder if I knock this wall down. So then you start doing projects at your house to gain some confidence. And then you're like, okay, well, maybe if I get some rental property, then I can start to grow in that way as well. So that's kind of how my real estate journey went. But just in life, um, very athletic kid growing up, played lots of sports, settled into basketball, called me, and I loved it. So I played basketball, high school, collegiately. And that took me around the world, allowed me to see a lot of different things. And so now I'm a collegiate women's basketball coach.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I
Yeah.
think you're the first coach we've ever had. So
Mhm.
very awesome. So what got you into real estate then? What made you decide that this is something that you want to do?
I like the creativity behind making a space your own. That's really where it started for me in my own house. And then then I started to consider as you talk to people about different things, they talked about owning properties. And I was like, oh, that just seems like so much work. I would never want to do that. And then you learn, well, some people get property management. So there's an entity in between you and your renters. And, essentially the renters will help you pay down your mortgage. You get the benefit of depreciation, appreciation, but you start to learn that most people who have wealth, real estate in some way, shape, or form is a part of their story.
Yeah, it's a good place to park your money, right?
Yeah, no,
And just let it
absolutely.
grow. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about your first deal. What was it? What type of deal was it?
It was a PML deal. It was with Fix and Flipper, or actually it still is because I haven't been in Gator super long. So I've
Mhm.
been in what 5 months now.
Mhm.
And so in July, I did a number of deals, but my first one in particular was with a Fix and Flipper who is currently working on a project in Philadelphia, so it's not too far away from me. Um, and it was a gap loan, filling in the difference between, what they were able to get from the hard money lender and then the costs needed to execute the flip. And so I wrestled with another Gator to pool our monies together to help our fix and flipper, our partner,
Mhm.
execute the deal. So, we just got our first round of updates. I want to say about last week in terms of the permits and all those things were taking a while to come in, but now movement's starting to happen. So now you start to see the building and construction take place.
Okay. And so how did you even figure out that you could be a gap lender or be a private money lender?
Through all the trainings that you get, in terms of the information that's available to you. So really, I try to be super intentional about going through all the trainings first,
Mhm.
gaining as much knowledge as I could, because I need to understand things before I kind of thrust myself into them, at least a framework.
Mhm.
And so once I kind of had that, and through networking, I'm talking with people more, gaining more confidence as I'm listening to their stories and how they got started and some of their suggestions. And kind of really, once you start networking and telling people what you want to do as a PML in that capacity, and once you start to have your funds available to you, deals start following you. And that's really, how it was for me. I ended up on a Zoom with some people who just wanted to talk about what the lending process looked like. And, I shared that I wanted to lend and the certain types of lends that I'd like to kind of start with. And it just happened to match a need that they had. And so I developed a mentor during that as well. So
Mhm.
you just kind of stumble into things. I will say that's one thing about this industry, that yes, you can do some pre-planning, but a lot of things happen very organically.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. It's interesting how you are looking for something and it doesn't really happen until you actually speak it out and you start networking and telling people, right?
Yeah,
Just
no, for
wanted to
sure.
highlight that because a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to go get a buy and hold," or "I want to do a lend," but they don't network, they don't meet people, and they don't put it out there, so they don't get their deal.
Yeah, no, I mean, most people that come into at least the Gator world, you start thinking you're going to be doing EMDs and double
Mhm.
closes and all of that. And then you start to realize you can do those things, and you probably will, but that's really a result of strong networking. What comes more easily or more readily, at least through the Gator group or the free Facebook group, is the PML requests. Those
Mhm.
I can trip over those, whether it be through that or things that flood my inbox.
Yeah, there's PML and PML requests all over the place all the
People
time,
always need
everywhere.
money, always
Yeah,
want money and need it.
yeah, exactly. So what did you look at when you were evaluating your first deal?
Honestly, John, I'm going to tell you the truth.
Mhm.
I did, like, some of those trainings are like 2 hours, 2.5 hours long, and
Yeah.
I'm writing down notes, and it all makes sense then.
Mhm.
Then the request comes and completely mind goes blank, right? You're just like,
Yeah.
oh my God, what do I do first?
Mhm.
I'm supposed to vet a whole bunch of things, but like, where do I start? So that's where the mentor really kind of came in so that I could talk this through about, okay, what am I really, really looking at?
Mhm.
How do I start to go through the pitch deck that you're provided when people have the request, when they're giving you appraisals and they're giving you, the hard money terms that they have. You really have to start to go through that to underwrite, to make sure that what you're being asked for makes sense
Mhm.
and also can be covered if something goes wrong and you have to foreclose, take over the property, what have you. You want to make sure there's enough spread that, you're pretty safe beyond the amount you lend, late fees, things of that nature. You want to make sure it has the capacity to be fulfilled through the request or through the potential of the deal.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think especially with a lot of the newer people, the idea is take action and go do something, but you got to make sure that you're doing it safely or as safely as possible. And if you don't know what you're doing, I think what you did was a great way to approach it. Is you're not doing it by yourself. You're bringing in someone who's more experienced. They can help walk you through the things that
Yeah.
you should and shouldn't do. Yes, you're
Yeah.
going to make less money, but at the same time, you're learning. You're at a lower risk to lose that money too.
Well, you start to realize the nuances in the paperwork, right?
Mhm.
So, yes, I had my first deal, but really I did about 5 or 6 deals within 3 weeks of each other. So they were all different in the
Mhm.
sense that a couple of them were PMLs, two of them were PMP. So now I'm partnering, getting equity. That's a whole different conversation. And they're talking about a stabilization period. I'm like, wait, I'm not going to get money the day one. And
Yeah.
so those kind of things you need to start to learn. And so really having someone to talk through things with repeatedly because you think you have it the one time.
Mhm.
And then as you kind of start to second guess and process, you're like, whoa, I have more questions. So just to kind of go back through it again, because you really start to realize, like I was scared to death from Pace's safety course. Like I was like,
Mhm.
well, I'm never going to land.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, because he's like, don't lose money. I'm like, I'm with you 100%. I don't want to lose money.
Yeah. Yeah, the safety badge semester is definitely eye-opening.
Yes. And you hear stories even about other people who have lost money, but most of the time they'll tell you it kind of started at the very beginning of the underwrite, like something wasn't right to start with.
Yeah.
And then, it just kind of got worse as time went by.
Yeah, I mean, it's typically something that they point to where like this is where I messed up.
Yep,
Probably shouldn't have done it this way.
correct.
Yeah. So I guess what in your experience or what in your background do you think really helped you get, because I mean, you joined Gator 5 months ago and you already have
Yep,
a few deals.
yep.
What is it from that you got from your history or your experience that helps you move so quickly to get into deals now?
You know what? I'm gonna give a large credit to sports, right? So, playing basketball in particular, like you go to the playground, you don't know people all the time. You just get in, go, make
Mhm.
friends, and kind of go from there. So I just kind of take those backgrounds. You'll always find some common area of interest with people, and that kind of can become the springboard to the building of the relationships. And really from there things kind of go. So people in the, Gator community and really in, Paces community have a go-giver spirit and it's very collaborative. So you're already entering an environment where people want to help you. The other
Mhm.
thing I didn't mention that I'll leverage is like the conversation in the Facebook group. Like I'll hop in conversations, tell people congratulations, do things. And so when there's discussion about things, whether it involves me or not, like I'll read it so it gives me additional context and things that I feel confident that I understand and can lend voice to, then I'll chime in as well. And those kind of things help a ton.
Oh yeah, for sure. Learning from other people. So I think there are like different levels. There's one's learning from your own experience and then being able to learn from other people's experiences. And I think that's if you can learn from other people's experiences, it's just like it's a superpower, really.
Yeah, and you know what? I will say one other thing that I neglected to mention is I get on Zooms, like if not just to meet people in a one-on-one Zoom, but just if some like you were hosting a Zoom,
Mhm.
it was a topic I was interested in, wanted to know, I just hop in and then
Yeah.
you start to engage.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super helpful. So how's that working out for you? You open up an account with them?
I make sure I got my letters right. EQRP,
Yeah.
I'm a member.
Welcome. Did you join the community yet?
I haven't hopped into it's another Facebook community.
It's on something they call it a Badger community. I don't know
Oh,
if
you
you
know what?
know.
I did sign up for Badger,
Okay.
but haven't kind of gone into interface.
Okay. Yeah, you meet a pretty cool people in there as well.
Okay, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Yeah.
They post any deals in there?
Yeah, they do. And then there's people
Oh,
that do
okay.
mobile home parks and RV parks and everything. And some people that do commodities, uh, oil, gas, gold. So people from
Gotcha.
all walks of life are in there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. What would you say is one of the biggest mindset hurdles that you had to overcome, and how did you do it?
Just my lack of experience. You're just very aware, especially as you're interacting with different people that, some people, this is their primary business. So they're getting reps at a lot of these things every day.
Mhm.
And, I have a W-2, so this is not my primary business. It's something that I'm very passionate about, something I give a lot of my time and energy to, but you just become, knowledgeable about what you don't know,
Mhm.
but you can't allow that to stop you. You're on a journey to know, and it's just move at the pace that makes sense for you, and how much reading and studying that you can do. And I think being a fly on the wall while people do deals, just watching the movement and the mechanics of it will give you a ton of confidence that, okay, I'm at least comfortable with the pace, and then you can hop in yourself. And I think, obviously, not starting with super large amounts of money,
Mhm.
kind of helps you, have a little bit more confidence that when you can see the cycle of things and you get that money back. Like people don't tell you like that when you send the wire to give people money,
Hmm.
regardless of how good your underwriting is,
Hmm.
you're nervous.
Yeah,
You're
for
very
sure.
nervous. But they also, it's super when you get that chime from, your bank notification that a wire's come in or,
Yeah.
money's come in, like you're super pumped, like, yeah, I want this one again.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a good feeling, and it's addictive feeling too.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. A couple things that I wanted to highlight that you said. First is knowing what you don't know, I think is super important, but also not being afraid of it too.
Yeah, I'm
So
not paralyzed because
yeah.
I know, like, again, I give a lot of credits to sports, right?
Hmm.
There's a lot of things you do unsure, but you have to do them. And you
Yeah.
have to do them with a high intensity. And you will become sure the more you just put yourself out there. And again, I'm not advocating for anything reckless,
Hmm.
but you have to move while not being certain.
Yeah. Absolutely. Uh, yeah, it's just one of those things that you can see. There's this analogy, or I don't know what they call it, but you can drive from the East Coast to the West Coast at
Mhm.
night, and you're not going to see the entire path. You'll only see a couple hundred feet ahead, but that's all you really need.
That's all you need. Yeah.
Yeah. And approaching this whole business as a team sport, I think is a good way to approach it as well, because you're never going to know everything, and you don't have to know everything.
Yeah.
You just got to find the right people.
You have to find the right people and you have to be okay with the concept of acquiring information along the way. Like some
Mhm.
people like to have all the information up front. Now,
Yeah.
that's what the trainings are an overview. So it kind of gives
Hmm.
you a sneak peek,
Yeah.
but you're really gaining the nuts and bolts as you move. And the slower you move, the
Mhm.
slower you'll gain the nuts and
Right.
bolts. So you have to decide how you want to move in this. And I don't think there's anything wrong with a different approach. It just doesn't fit me and my temperament.
Yeah. You mentioning that the trainings are an overview. I kind of viewed the trainings as, well, once I go through the training, I know everything, but I also am way too impatient to go through all the trainings. So I just thought, okay, well, I'll go do it and then I'll figure it out. So that's really helpful to view the trainings as not as a way for you to know absolutely everything, because it's going to be impossible
Well,
to
they
know everything.
change. I mean, they
Yeah.
evolve. They're new industry, the industries change and new products are introduced. And,
Hmm.
as you're seeing with the iterations of what Pace is doing, like
Yeah.
he released all this stuff, but now he's going back and backfilling because things
Yeah.
are evolving.
Yeah. For sure. Really good points. Um, but yeah, if you knowing what you know now, what's some advice that you would give to yourself 5 months ago, 6 months ago?
Um, I think what I would have done was maybe started my networking a little bit earlier. And really, when I networked, I should have asked people the percentage. Like, again, when you start with most Gator stuff, you're thinking EMD double closes, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
asking people what percentage of your deals fall within this realm and where is the largest percentage of your deals? And really started to shift my mind from the EMD double close stuff into the PML,
Hmm.
and really started to hone in on those things a little bit more because like now I'm going back and I'm doing the underwriting semester as it's occurring.
Hmm.
I'm getting on the underwriting weekly Zooms, but I could have done a little bit of those things earlier.
Hmm.
But again, I was thinking a different track.
Yeah. But, either way, partnering with someone who's more experienced has definitely been helpful, right?
Yeah, and everyone's not a great partner, right? So
Hmm.
really just yes, you want to network with people looking for a partner, but not thinking that everyone will be it. What I found is those things happen very organically.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. I think one partner I had, it didn't work out. I seeked out, right? The other two that I have now, um, it's kind of worked out because we've become friends, and then we decided to do business together.
Not that I would do differently, but I would encourage people to do this. So, I'm a big learner. Like I try to make learning available whenever I can. So when I'm in the car, like I
Mhm.
really stumbled upon Pace through Bigger Pockets. I was listening to their Real Estate Rookie podcast all the
Okay.
time.
Hmm.
Um, but one of the things that I did is if I listened to a podcast and I walked away with, well, this person seems like they're cool. I would want to do business with them.
Hmm.
I look through, look them up on social media or look at their contact information, and I reach out to them and get on their calendar and schedule an appointment. Like I think things like that are a cool way to meet the people that you're strategically trying to meet. Like for example, like Colin, like I heard
Hmm.
him on a podcast. So actually, I watched him in one of Pace's trainings.
Hmm.
And I think I heard him on a podcast with Kalisha Carter, who was someone that I decided that I wanted to get to know.
Hmm.
And then he turned out to be the connector on like my second PMP, my first PMP.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of crazy how you just decide, I just decided that, yeah, I want to connect with that person. I want to learn from that person, engage with
Hmm.
them. And then, just through moving through a deal, you're on Zooms with them 2 and 3 times a week trying to get things ironed out, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Basically just taking action and it just kind of falls into place.
Yeah, taking like I try to define taking action. It's not just giving away your money right away.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
taking action to connect and meet people.
Yeah, definitely want to highlight that that does not mean jumping into a deal. Taking action does not mean just going out and doing something. It's just taking small steps to even get to that first deal, even if it's just underwriting every single day or just meeting one new person every single day. That's the kind of action that we're talking about.
No, for sure.
Don't go fund a day. Don't go fund a deal on day one.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it unless you're very experienced.
Yeah. Well, Kia, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh,
How
no
can
problem.
people reach out to you? How can people work with you?
I would say right now the best ways to reach out are via email or to text me directly. I'm working on my social media presence and getting that up to speed. So my direct number is area code 610-766-7797. And my email is Kia, at Charm City Collective, all one word, .com.
Okay. All right, we'll have those way your email and your number
Yep.
in the YouTube description. And yeah, do you have any parting words?
No, just I would just highly encourage people to the Gator community. The real estate world is a very big world. And meeting people are doing some pretty cool things with their opportunities within real estate. So just having a genuine interest in what people are doing will give you ideas and, organically relationships and potential deals will come through that. And I think the more that you put yourself out there, the more that'll come back to you.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.